For life, for life.
Massaro had a loyal fan following to this day.
She never turned down an autograph, she never turned down a picture, and whoever came up to talk to her got to tell their entire story because she listened to everything.
Just 2 days ago, she tweeted a picture of all the fan mail she had just answered. She had been working recently as a DJ at local radio station 94.3 The Shark.
I got the call from her Wednesday that she wasn't going to come in. I just said, all right, we'll schedule somebody else. And then I asked if she was all right. She said, yeah, her allergies, I said, I have allergies. Your allergies bothering you? She said, no, I'm just not really feeling well.
This dude is displaying every sign of a liar. His eyes are darting around everywhere, can't stop nervously twitching about. She didn't just call you out of the blue and tell you she wasn't feeling well. I don't believe that for 1 second. A woman who felt like doing what it's claimed that she did wouldn't have been cheerfully returning fan mail and interacting on social media right before death. That makes absolutely no sense. This is a subject that I've been meaning to touch on for over a week now, guys. I initially planned to talk about it days before the first news even broke out on Vince McMahon, and I've just been putting it off for some reason. And now I know what that reason is. It just wasn't quite that time to talk about it just yet. Today, I think it's the perfect timing, with Tori Wilson coming out just recently about how she was also put into situations where she was uncomfortable with things in the company to the point of her breaking down in tears. And now, federal prosecutors are investigating Vince McMahon on sex trafficking claims. Yes, more and more stuff comes out. It seems like every few hours. It's kind of hard to keep up with at this point, but hey, I'm having fun. Are you guys? Let's go. The truth is coming to light, my friends. The truth is coming to light. What we're about to discuss is, in my opinion, one of the greatest and most obvious examples of what Vince has done over the years. So join me, guys. Let's talk about one of Vince McMahon's darkest secrets. The 2005 WWE Diva Search winner, Ashley Massaro. Paul London has spoken about Vince McMahon's scummy ways towards women in his company. And those ways that are now coming to light so heavily when he appeared over a year ago on one of Rene Dupree's Cafe de Rene episodes. Fantastic show and deserves much more attention than what it gets, by the way. But I digress. Paul spoke from a personal standpoint when he was on the show in that episode, as he had a close relationship with Ashley Massaro during the two's run in that company together. They dated for a little over a year, and he recalled situations during that time where Ashley would come to him shaking and crying after Vince would aggressively proposition her to have sex with him, or fly on his private jet with him and Kevin Dunn, or endlessly knock on her hotel room door at night. This is crazy stuff, guys. In the past week or so, since the Vince lawsuit came out, Paul London once again spoke on that topic of Ashley Massaro in another episode of Cafe de Rene. Paul was adamant there that this is just the tip of the iceberg, and guys, I've got to say that I agree. In fact, I know for a fact it's just the tip of the iceberg, because Vince has not only one, but a whole bunch of closets just full of skeletons. They're just crammed up in there. Every inch of room has been used. And if you're new to the channel, you can look through my back catalog of content to hear my coverage on many of them. And look, believe me, guys, they're all gonna come to light. No worries in my mind on that. And anyone who was truly complacent or took part in these activities with Vince, well, the clock is ticking, boys and girls even. And girls, yes. Paul made a very good point when discussing Janelle Grant. He went into detail on how seemingly this woman is someone who is very young, or was rather, and had just lost her parents, so alone and with no elderly advice and guidance. Someone very influenced by the promises of fame, money, etc., power, even, all most of the time left unfulfilled. you know, those promises that are thrown their way. But I think that's what Vince looks for, just like Paul does. Someone that he can groom, someone easily influenceable and vulnerable that he can groom and use and destroy. Yeah, the WWE did a lot of that. Look no further than Pat Patterson and his sexy little ring boys that Vince harbored. Oh yeah. You know who I think you can throw into that list with Janelle Grant of people that Vince McMahon at least tried to groom and traffic? Paul's former girlfriend, Ashley Massaro. Very evident with all of these revelations surfacing on McMahon, as well as with Paul London coming out with his first-hand experiences on the matter. Thank you to Paul. We are big Paul London fans here at Wrestling Insight. But in fact, I think she was booked. And yes, let's not be marks here, especially in this video. That Diva Search crap was all rigged. Booked to be the winner, she was, of the first Diva Search. Specifically because Vince McMahon saw a vulnerable target. A victim. He saw a 25-year-old, attractive, young, immature, and gullible female with a 4-year-old daughter that he could promise all of this fame and riches to, and use her for sick perversion, and destroy her life. Just a theory, though. All of this is allegedly, of course. The whole video even. Take none of this as fact, please. Just observations and theories meant to entertain and stimulate the mind so you can do your research and come to your conclusions on all of it. Anyways, here's my take on and what happened, if you're not familiar, during Ashley's quite brief 3-year or so stay in WWE. We have Paul London here, who dated her for a span of a little over 1 year of that, according to Paul. Now, at what point did he date her? That becomes the true question. And only Paul can give us those details. I'm sure he will when the time is right, and I'm sure also that time is quite near with the rate at which things are moving here, right? If I had to give a guess, though, my theory is that it was very early in her run with WWE. They may have even started talking near the very beginning of it, because what it all sounds like to me is that, yes, Vince saw a target, a victim, in the young Ashley Massaro, gave her the Diva Search crown, and then very heavily pushed himself upon her with his other little perverted goons like Bucky Beaver, Kevin Dunn, and Johnny, I'm a sex trafficking victim now too, LOL, Laurinaitis. This probably did carry on for most of, if not all, of their relationship, and Ashley obviously rejected all of those advances, which I'm sure infuriated Vince. Because you see, Vince McMahon is like a little child that, when he doesn't get his way, no matter how unfair or vile that it is, he seeks the ultimate revenge. He'll destroy you, and then he will murder you. It's common running theme. It's a very common running theme. Check out the conspiracy playlist on how he does this with so many people. I've covered countless legends that have passed on, allegedly with Vince McMahon at play. Every time. Sometimes sickeningly, obviously, that he's at play. But this video is about the beautiful and extremely talented late Ashley Massaro, whom I loved during her run and still look back on as one of my favorite female wrestlers of all time based on her beauty, style, and personality alone. And in this video, we're going to get down to the bottom of it all on how Vince McMahon, after being turned down and shamed by her, destroyed Ashley Massaro and eventually had her murdered like so many others. Many people know about the lawsuit Ashley took part in against WWE for CTE. She claimed that she took numerous blows and suffered concussion after concussion while both in the ring and during training, and never received any kind of medical attention from the WWE doctor. She was only told to shake it off. In her original statement, she even went as far as to say one time she was out cold for 5 minutes straight, and yes, again received no medical attention or treatment at all. Listen, guys, 2 quick points here. Doesn't this give CM Punk's claims against this WWE doctor and his experiences with that piece of crap more validity? Ashley even had plans to donate her brain to research due to all of these severe concussions. And, but by the way that she passed, which we'll cover later, you'll see. Anyways, many know about the CTE lawsuit. Not as many know about the experience that Ashley Massaro claimed to have had while with WWE during a 2008 Tribute to the Troops tour, something like that, that she was also included in, or rather that she also included in that same lawsuit with the CTE. And I'm going to start throwing some screenshots up here of her statements from her affidavit as I continue on and just kind of hit the high spots. Warning, however, it is mature content and quite graphic, so if you're sensitive to those type of things, you may want to just ignore those screenshots. But the short story is, on top of the abysmal medical treatment she received while with the company and the statement that she gave on that, she also claims that she was drugged and sexually assaulted while on said Tribute to the Troops tour by people who at least claimed to be part of the U.S. military even. And wouldn't you guess, when she got back and told him about it, Vince McMahon, being the gee golly great and caring, compassionate human being, if he even really is one of those, and boss that he was, told her it would be best if she just kept it quiet, because it would ruin the relationship between WWE and the U.S. military. Are you serious right now, bro? This was an obvious setup. Yeah, Vince is going down and everyone involved is too. What I'm willing to bet you is the list of people involved in stuff like this is much, much longer than you would believe. Now I'm going to start connecting the dots for you guys so you can see how I'm coming to these conclusions on my theories. That trip to Kuwait was on June 28th, 2006, or at least that's the date on an article that I found from WWE.com, which was titled WWE Ships Forward to Kuwait. Should have added at the end there, so one can suffer a brutal and dehumanizing humiliation ritual. That would have went over big with the fans, right? I wonder if Ashley's name is on that list of hush money payments. Furthermore, I wonder if McMahon stiffed her too past the first payment. That son of a... Hey, I'm just saying. But this incident would be 10 months or so, a little bit over 10 months after she won the Diva Search and joined the company August 15th, 2005. So yes, my guess is Paul dated her when she first came to the company. Congrats to him, by the way. She was my #1 teenage crush, and he saw all of those months of Vince endlessly harassing her for sexual favors. And Paul may have even been dating her when all of this happened on that military tribute tour. Not only am I sure that it's hard for him to speak on emotionally, but also to speak on and feel like you're physically safe afterwards when you do so. At least until more information comes out on all of this. But that's a span of about 10 months or so between joining the company and this incident in Kuwait for Ashley. That's plenty of time for this initial Vince McMahon push to get her to sleep with him, her reject him for 10 months, and then this happens to set an example to the other girls that they better play ball. Does that make sense? And then, when she gets back, we completely ignore that it ever even happened because, LOL, it's the U.S. military. We can't ruin our relationship with them. But let's hammer it home some more even. You know, if you turn down the boss sexually, you'll be punished by talents purposely mishandling you both in the ring and while training, and purposely inflicting several concussions because they were instructed to do so. And I think they did that to this lady's brain. Oh yeah, I think that happened. This is sick stuff, people. Very sick stuff when you start getting down into it. And I'm not going to do it for this video because it's already getting quite long. Much longer than I expected it to be, as I, like I said, I kept digging in on this stuff with Ashley. It's damning, in my opinion, guys. Just disturbing. But I would like to research how Paul was treated during his run in the same time span as well. If he was put into embarrassing situations on TV, his booking took a nosedive, he was mistreated backstage, etc., as punishment and humiliation just for being with Ashley. And maybe Paul just hasn't said anything about it all of these years. Or maybe he has, and I just haven't heard it or ran across it. I don't know. Anyways, it's about to get it just gets all kinds of strange after this alleged assault by U.S. military members on the behalf of Miss Massaro before she passed. Very strange. I'm going to present to you another theory to consider here. She got back from Kuwait 2006. She's furious. She's also probably emotionally distraught and scarred. A completely different person after that experience, and now much less emotionally and mentally strong. An aspect she may have been struggling with in the first place. And let's say this altercation we talk about in Kuwait may have even been recorded by the lady that was also in the room to use for blackmail. We don't even know what all took place when this happened. If it's some really deep, dark stuff, she would not have mentioned that in the CTE suit. She wouldn't have gotten that in depth. I mean, let's look at Janelle Grant's statement. She had some balls there, and she got really deep with it. She let it all come out. Thank God for Janelle Grant. But I mean, we don't know what happened to Ashley, is my point there. Let's say what all happened in there, and the woman who was with the supposed doctor filmed it, and now they've got some blackmail to hang over Ashley. She agrees to never mention that it happened, and they agree to never release blackmail, and she'll be a good girl and play the game. And then, well, she won't have something like that happen to her again, or worse. And, that's kind of how it goes in Hollywood and WWE too. She plays the game, sleeps with Vince, lets him pimp her out around the office and locker room even. Again, possibly. Now, I'm not saying that happened. That's just speculation on that aspect. And I'm throwing that in because of what it is known that that he did with Janelle Grant. And hey, they told Ashley, for your participation, we're going to give you the cover of Playboy magazine. What do you think about that, Ashley? And oh boy, how about a spot on Survivor as well? Yeah, that sounded great, I'm sure, when she took this deal. But don't even get me started on Hugh Hefner and Playboy and what that really was. Can we just say blackmail, honeypot, and human trafficking alphabet agency type stuff? Oh yeah. She thinks, but she hears this and she thinks, okay, at least I get this and it never happens again. But oh no, just like Vince never follows through on his second hush money payments, he also lies his ass off with his promises. Because it gets much, much worse. She appears on the cover of the April 2007 Playboy and coincidentally even appears on Survivor China, like we mentioned. Right after Playboy, immediately right after pretty much, that started airing in September of that same year. Of course, during all of this, she was taking a break away from WWE. This probably, if I had to guess and pinpoint it, was when her and Paul London's relationship ended, if not a little bit before then. All speculation, though only Paul can verify, of course. But yes, you see, like I said, Ashley took the deal. She took the Playboy cover and the spot on Survivor and threw her soul, her pride, and what she knew would have been the right thing to do away. She signed a deal with the devil and kept her mouth shut And that devil's name was Vincent Kennedy McMahon. But the thing is, the devil is never being honest, and there's always a caveat when you sign a deal with the devil. The cover of Playboy and a spot on Survivor may have looked nice on paper or sounded nice to her ears, but really they were peace gestures laced with poison. Like I briefly mentioned, Playboy and that mansion were only alphabet agency honeypots for sexual blackmail operations and human trafficking. There's tunnels all across Hollywood from that old Playboy mansion. Look into that. It's interesting stuff, man. We're giving you some good information. So, what Vince McMahon did to punish her for not sleeping with him when she first got to the WWE is hand her over to yet another pimp, and she didn't even know it. And by that I mean, this one was an actual real pimp using underground tunnels for human trafficking. Trafficking his hoes, Hugh Hefner. That piece of garbage may even have Vince beaten. It wouldn't surprise me. I just haven't looked into him because I don't give a rat's ass, honestly, to look into him. I know the extent of what I need to know and what I want to know about Hugh Hefner to be able to see the truth. She got her fleeting moment in the sun, which now looking back on it was nothing more than plastic. Just seconds in time printed onto sheets of paper that are now faded and torn or even shredded, molding in garages, or long ago thrown away in dumps, etc. You see how fake Hollywood attention and fame is short, fleeting, and not real. In the end, you sold your soul, metaphorically at least, for false goods. And when she got on Survivor, she barely lasted 2 episodes, and they made her look terrible on both of them. I think it was more humiliation rituals. The producers most likely clipped and spliced things around to make her look as bad as possible. Other contestants purposely started shit with her or talked badly about her because they were instructed to by producers. Or at least I think so. Hey, maybe she was literally crazy by this point. And if she was, could you really blame her, knowing what we know now and what I just told you? Maybe a mix of both. Anyways, they embarrassed her and got her off there real quick. And then, in my opinion, off to the human trafficking races she went. Hef got her hooked up with that real quick for a little bit. Probably really elite uptown type folks that those tunnels lead to, you know. She eventually made a return to WWE in January 2008, only for news to drop in May or so that she was a female escort before working for WWE. Wouldn't you know it? Another quick and brutal humiliation ritual, and laughing in our faces too, if you ask me, because I don't think she was a hooker before WWE, but I do think she had just literally gotten out of a prostitution ring, like the one described in the leak, one operated by Hugh Hefner, and a certain 3-letter alphabet agency. 2 months later, she's released from her contract, and what's played out in public as her asking for her release, ashamed of the news coming out and choosing to walk away and avoid WWE looking bad in this. Oh my freaking God, guys. Vince McMahon put her into the prostitution. And then this is how they fire the girl in public. Good Lord. You just can't make this up. If I'm making all this up, I could write a damn good book, huh? Interestingly to note, around 4 months after Ashley's departure from WWE, former boyfriend of hers, Paul London, also left the WWE. Paul choosing to this day to never return to the company. How did Ashley Massaro's life go after her WWE stint? Well, I don't know, to be honest with you, exactly. She could have gone back into being trafficked, or at least for a while, after Vince brought her back and got that laugh on her. I haven't really followed or looked into how anything went post-WWE for her, other than the lawsuit and cause of death. Speaking of, let's watch a little clip of the lamestream media and their coverage of this poor woman's death. This is her boss, I'm guessing, at the radio station she had been working at before her sudden death.
Massaro had a loyal fan following to this day.
She never turned down an autograph, she never turned down a picture, and whoever came up to talk to her got to tell their entire story because she listened to everything.
Just 2 days ago, she tweeted a picture of all the fan mail she had just answered. She had been working recently as a DJ at local radio station 94.3, The Shark.
I got the call from her Wednesday that she wasn't going to come in. I just said, all right, we'll schedule somebody else. And then I asked her if she was all right. She said, yeah, her allergies, I said, I have allergies. Your allergies bothering you? She said, no, I'm not really feeling well.
This dude is displaying every sign of a liar. His eyes are darting around everywhere, can't stop nervously twitching about. She didn't just call you out of the blue and tell you she wasn't feeling well. I don't believe that for 1 second. A woman who felt like doing what it's claimed that she did wouldn't have been cheerfully returning fan mail and interacting on social media right before death. That makes absolutely no sense. Yes, the mainstream media wants you to believe that Ashley Massaro hung herself. That's convenient, isn't it? Considering she was going to donate her brain to research. That left that impossible to do. Want to know something even more disgusting? Vince McMahon and WWE had the audacity to throw out a statement the day after this woman's death with a fake email claiming it was Ashley from an email, again, sent in late 2018. This was less than a year before her death, they claim. And it was apologizing for every bad thing she ever said about WWE and for joining the CTE suit. They claim that she said she was pressured into it and would love forgiveness so she could possibly work for WWE again because it was nothing but good times. Yeah, right. I mean, I don't even have to tell you that's horse crap because you done know it's not good times for anybody in that damn company. Nobody. This is probably one of the most vile things to me. And some people are still probably stupid enough to buy that story. My God. Look, guys. This has been a long video. Much longer than I thought it would be before I headed into it. But this entire Ashley Massaro deal is like a huge, never-ending rabbit hole. And it looks very, very bad for old Vincent. I'm going to try to wrap it up real quick and end with this. If you don't believe me so far, if you aren't sold, how about some gematria? Death by numbers. The occult love that stuff. And best bet, WWE is an occult company. They hide everything they do in numbers because they think they can avoid karma that way or something. Problem is, once everyone figures them out and learns gematria, it doesn't work anymore. That's why they didn't teach you that in school. I'm going to start leaving this until the end for my hardcore out there and for people just quite, not sold yet. But when you pull up Gematrinator, you can see how the gematria lines up with Miss Massaro. This is a satanic ritual murder, everyone. Just like the rest of the deaths I have been covering on the channel. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I worked really hard researching and trying to compile everything the best I could for everyone. This subject and all of this pro wrestling stuff is something I am very passionate about. I'm a man who prefers that truth and what's good in this world prevails over some lying scum and evil, and that's what Vince McMahon is. If you enjoyed the video and have yet to subscribe, please do. Also be sure to hit the like button and ding that notification bell so you don't miss any of these videos in the future. I do coverage on many pro wrestling topics, so I hope that you stick with me here at Wrestling Insight. Until next time, guys, take care.